What is up, guys? Digital VFX here once again, and today I have a tutorial on how to add a little bit of complexity to your melodies and possibly your drops and just parts in your song that sound a little bit basic. And I have a feeling that this tutorial is going to help a lot of people because I know a lot of people who produce music, especially in Fruity Loops, being that it is kind of considered a beginner type of DAW. And that, if you're a little more advanced, chances are you probably use something like Ableton, Logic, Cubase, Reason, all the ones that that are a little more complex and they require a little bit more thorough knowledge of music production and, all the concepts with sound design. But so, as I said, this will probably help a lot of people. And I noticed this for a lot of you who follow me and listen to my music. If you're a returning watcher of my tutorials, you know that one of my best songs, or at least the one that has the most success, is Gypsy. And I guess I can just show that as an example. Sure. The reason being that this is one of my best songs is because it's A, simple, B, the complexity just merges together quite well. That wasn't the best way of explaining it, but you know what I mean, especially if you've heard the song. I've noticed a lot that if you listen to a professional song that just sounds phenomenal and you have good monitors or good headphones and actually can listen to each individual layer. And a lot of you have been wondering, like my old In 10 Minutes videos, how I was able to make a melody. Because if you listen to a song and actually pay attention very closely, you can hear each individual instrument and each individual layer. And that's how I kind of picked out the melodies and the basses and that. But I'm going to go to the pattern of this, of Gypsy. So, as you can see, it's pattern 1. So this is the first thing I ever made for this song. And, I opened the file, I threw everything. Well, I shouldn't say through everything, but I made the file, I made this melody, and I made the whole song around this melody. And if you listen, it's got 3 basic parts. The first is the bass. It's a very basic bass line pattern. Oh, that is muted. Whoops. All right, so here we go. It's just a very basic bass. And it's just octave chords. There we go. It's and then a D. C sharp. I'm sorry, that's a C sharp, not a D. But yeah, it's just very, very basic chords and in a very, very basic progression. And that's really all you need to sound good, is a basic melody or a basic progression, because a lot of people are trying too hard to make really, really complex melodies. And really the biggest part and kind of the main point of this video is you got to make a lot of parts and layer them properly, so A, they don't overlap, and B, they just mesh really well, and obviously they're in the same key. So as you just heard, I have this bass, and then I have this melody, which is just another guitar melody. So it's a very basic melody. And this is kind of going back to the drop tutorial that I did on this video, even before the song was released and finished. But after you have the bass and the melody, then I just have this synth. And so, you put them together, and they're just 3 very, very basic I'm just going to say melodies for the lack of a better term, but obviously two are melody, one's a bass line. and they just merge together very well. And so, as you can see, it sounds really good together. They're very basic, and they just kind of play one after another when spaces are open, and it sounds really good. And so I'm not going to save that. And now I go into the song I had open earlier, appropriately named Cashmere Cat, because I was just making it, and it kind of sounds like a Cashmere Cat or Giraffage type song, both of which I've seen live, and they're kind of slower, melodic trap type of stuff, and I really like the style, and clearly I'm starting to try to produce it. But I can take off these and just kind of show the melodies and the different layers here. So all I have is they're all massive patches, but I have just these chords. Took off the reverb because I wanted to have something like this. I can just put on one of the snares there. Yeah, that works. I wanted to kind of have the synth go for the duration between the kick and the snare, and then end with the downbeat of the snare, so it sounds like this. And I thought that sounded pretty good. Actually, I can take those off for now. But basically, I just went off of this chord progression. No flats, no sharps. It's just C major. Well, it's in the key of C, and it has just those basic 3 chords, and I think some variation of that. Actually, on pattern 1, I know I put the chord progression when I first started the song. Wish I could mute that. Well, maybe I can. I'm not going to worry about it. But this is going to have a melody in it, but you can see that it's just the basic chords. I can give it a play real quick. Okay, so as you can see, it's just a very basic chord progression. It's the chords that I showed you earlier. But then I threw another note in there just to give it a little more depth. I forget. Let's see. Actually, I didn't throw an extra chord, and I just added one below for the bass, just to give it a little more depth. That's what I did. Okay. Yeah, right. Right there. Okay. There we go. That is the chord progression I used. So as you can see, it's a very basic progression. And so I just kind of chose these chords right here. So after I added that, I kind of just played around on the scale, and it helps to do to know a little bit of music theory, and if people request it, maybe I can do a little kind of basic music theory tutorials and just kind of explain exactly some scales and different keys. But in the key of C, there's no flats, no sharps. And so as you can see, if you were playing these chords, it's going to be tough because, see, I can't really mute that, but whatever. Okay, I guess it will work. I thought when you turn this off, it would prevent it from playing, but it just turns the layer off. So, as you can see, I'm going to play the chords real quick and then just kind of mess around with some random notes. C. I think the main notes I used for this melody were G, Yep, G, A, B, C. Like that. So play the chords. And obviously that's just random playing, but as you can see, those notes work in that scale because it's the same key. And I kind of filled in little notes where in between, oh, I shouldn't say where, but in between the different chords and the different so it's a very, very basic melody, but it kind of works well because it's like on off beats and gives it a little bit of funky feeling. And as you can see, just a very basic kick pattern with some garage style hip hop kick. And like I said, I added like a couple snares layered. I haven't even mastered them yet or mixed them really. I haven't even added them to the mixer because I haven't really spent too much time on this. But so add those in. Alright, so then a third layer of just a regular synth. And sounds like this. So I copied the bottom line of the bass. Well, I guess it would just be the bass progression. And I just put those in with the same time as the chords. And together with the chords, it sounds like this. And it sounds pretty good. And as you can see, it's following the rule by putting kind of the majority of the melody in between where there's available space. So if you look at the chords, although I have some notes here in between, or like on the notes, you can get around that by mastering it. I shouldn't say mastering it, mixing it properly, and like cutting off the bass of one where the bass of another sound is coming in. So like I said earlier, you want to kind of fit them together so they're not overlapping, and that's where the mixing comes in and the EQing and cutting off the highs and the lows of certain sounds and synths that you don't necessarily want to show through and overlap on other sounds. And so when you put them all together, it sounds like this. And there you have it. So kind of the highlights of this video, I guess I would say simplicity is the key. I mean, it sounds ridiculous because a lot of people think complexity means better, but that's not necessarily true. If you listen to a lot of professional songs, and I encourage you to get a good pair of headphones if you don't already have them, or you know, good monitors where you can actually hear individual layers, and you can just listen to the different leads and the different synths and how they work together, and you know, you really find out why those are the really popular and professional songs, because they just layer them so well that it sounds really good together, even though they're really basic melodies. And so I hope this video helped. If you guys have any questions, remember to just shoot them down in the comments below. I try to answer as many as I can. You know, if you do something with this tutorial, send me a link. I might find some time to listen to it and give you some feedback on it. And as always, this has been Digital VFX. Thanks for watching.